Hey, Will, nice to chat with you.
Right back at you, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so tell me, like, what are you working on these days?
These days I'm working on all things cold email content. You wouldn't think there's that much to talk about when it comes to cold emails, but you'd be surprised. You've got the subject line, the CTA, follow-up emails, like messaging, tonality. There's a whole lot there. So I'm just constantly just like creating videos, trying to help people do all of those things better.
Beautiful. And what do you see where people go really wrong? Like, what's the common theme that you see?
I would say there's two kind of buckets that I put mistakes that people make when they're writing cold emails into. One is like the formatting, like how long is it? How many paragraphs? What kind of words do you use? And then the second piece is messaging. And you probably relate with this quite a lot. Bad cold emails are like written entirely about the salesperson, their company, their product. When really to resonate with someone, it's often better to talk about them, their challenges, and how other people like them are solving those challenges. So I would say messaging is probably the bigger problem. Folks just want to pitch, but we know in sales it's not always the way to do it. Oftentimes, if you talk about yourself, you're actually losing. So, uh, really easy way to fix that is write more about the other person. Stop using the word I and we and are in your cold emails and switch it out for you, yours, and their company name, etc.
So here's the problem I see is I know what you're saying, and you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be all me, 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 me. Um, right? But how do you craft something when you don't know much and you're still learning about that organization or learning about that individual? How do you make it? You hear where I'm going with this? Like you are
Yeah,
right, but how do
yeah.
you address it?
And this is a skill, right? Like I think this takes some time to learn. But I can jump on a call with a sales team and kind of understand, like, okay, what does your product do? And I was chatting to a company the other day, and their company is like helps people visualize their data better, right? So typically, a cold email about written by their team might say, "Hey, we can help you visualize your data better, so you can make better decisions, and you can see it like this, and it works here, and it plugs into your data source, and then it gives you all these things. So all of your stakeholders can see how it works. Fancy a chat, or would you like to book a demo, or click this link here?" But almost every feature on the planet, every product that does something, or even services as well, there's a complete inverse of that, which is a challenge. And that's the challenge the feature helps solve. So understanding your client's challenges and what they're struggling with on a day-to-day basis and how your product ties into that is critical. So data visualization is the product, the feature. What problem does that solve? What happens when you don't have good data visualization? It's a case of making bad decisions, uninformed decisions. If the people in your company can't see the data and understand it very well because it's all in a spreadsheet, then they might be coming to one person all the time to get, answers, which means they can't make decisions quickly, or one person's getting hit up and not doing their real work. So you can start to flip things in their head and understand the challenges that folks are facing, because that's really what the focus should be, because they don't really care about the data visualization product. If they did, they might have already bought one, or they might be shopping for one. But not that much of the market is ever really openly trying to buy a new solution. So sending that type of email where you talk about your product, you're going to have to send out a lot of emails to get any kind of response. Whereas if you can highlight a challenge and say, hey, a lot of folks are struggling because they don't have the data in a way that helps them make decisions. They have to spend ages making each decision, and sometimes they even make the wrong decisions.
Mm-hmm.
uh, X company uses our visualization product to see insights right away so they can make fast decisions and make sure they're not making the wrong ones when they open new stores, new locations, etc. So that's a quick messaging shift you can do to actually write a much more relevant and engaging cold email that's much more likely to be responded to, because you're not just feature pitching.
Right, right. And where does the call come in this situation? So you send the email first and then you follow it up with a call, or do you call first and then shoot an email?
This one will split a room. If you ask someone, should you send a cold call, should you make a cold call or send an email first? My personal preference is making a cold call first.
Really?
Realistically, yeah, 100%.
Wow. Okay.
I'll typically do three main things in the first day. I call these sequences. Some people call them cadences. But I normally have 20 touches across a 2-week period. A mix of LinkedIn, cold calling, emails. I
Mm-hmm.
like to start with a cold call, because if they pick up the phone, I've just saved myself all the work of writing out an email, all the work of recording a video, all the work of hitting them on LinkedIn. It's the fastest way to get in touch with someone, right? Now, if they don't pick up the phone, here's what I can do. I can leave them a voicemail. I'm not going to ask for a call back, because when I asked for people for callbacks, I could probably count on one hand the number of people who actually called me back. Especially in the world of B2B, people are like, no, I'm not gonna, this is obviously a salesperson. I'm not going to call them back. Why would I do that? So instead, in my voicemail, I'm going to say something along the lines of, hey, it's Will Aiken here from Lavender. Don't worry about giving me a call back. I'm about to send you an email of what this call was regarding. It's coming from will.aiken@lavender.ai. And then what that's going to do is improve the open rate on that email, even if it doesn't end up in the primary inbox and happens to go to the spam inbox, which a lot of sales emails do. They now know to look for it, right? So I've actually seen that directly increase in my open rate. And those are going to be like I'm going to do those all in like a 10-minute period. So call, the voicemail saying that they're going to get an email, and then the email is going to come through. And oftentimes that email can have a subject line that says something like voicemail, then I might have something like voicemail reply rates. And then when they see that, they know it's the one.
That's interesting because my technique has been to do it the other way around. That's
okay.
Yeah, my technique has been to send again, it depends who I'm reaching out to, right? Certain businesses, I wouldn't do that. Other businesses, I would, right? It really just depends. And the whole idea is to turn those cold conversations into warm ones, whether it's via email or phone, right?
Yeah.
So in certain situations, I've done, emails and then followed up with a call, because then they know, okay, I better call her back because she's not going to stop.
That's the idea of like a sequence in general, right? Like by step 10, I've probably called them twice, emailed them twice, hit them up on LinkedIn. They start to get more familiar with my name, and then hopefully I'm more likely to respond, even if it's like, go away, I'm not interested. Well, that's still good, right?
It's still a response. That's right. And most people get, scared. They're like, oh my God, I don't want to hear the no. And that is what distinguishes those people that keep going from the ones that don't. So it's true. I always say a response is better than no response, because that could change in the future as well, right? That can definitely change. So if I were to ask you a couple of more tips before we close off today, let's maybe top 3 cold email tips that, just to put everything in a concise manner for the audience.
Sure. I'm going to give you 3 cold email tips. Let me think. Number 1, the shorter the better of your cold emails. These people that we're reaching out to, trying to sell to, are often people who are busy because they hopefully have money, which normally means they're quite important, which means they have a lot to do. So keep them short. It takes about, I think the average time that someone spends reading an email is around 9 seconds. It's around 50 words. So if you can keep your email under 50, at max 75 words, you're much more likely to get that email read, and therefore they're much more likely to understand what it is you're reaching out to them about. Second one is the one I already gave you. You want to be like, there's one word you want to remove from your cold emails, it's the word I. Like, shut up about yourself. No one cares. If they cared, they would have asked, but they didn't. You're reaching out to them, encouraging on their time, their day. Make about them or people like them. And that way you can avoid talking about yourself, your product, and your company. And then the third tip would probably be, I'm going to go subject lines, because frankly, if your email doesn't get open, then it was a waste of time. Do not sell at all in the subject line. Like, keep that subject line basic, descriptive. No like quick question. Hey, Nicole, want to chat? Nicole, you can 10x your reply rates with Lavender. Just literally, if I'm writing about Lavender, and I'll give another example in a second, I'm just going to use the subject line reply rates or open rates or sales team or new SDRs or whatever it is. If I was selling the data insights product example I gave earlier, I might just say decision making or data insights or something simple, just something that looks and blends in with the rest of your inbox. Because generally, like I mentioned, these folks that we're reaching out to, very busy people. They're going to be getting like 250 emails a day. Can you imagine getting 250 pieces of mail a day? We'd immediately start to be like, oh no, that's spam, that's trash, I'm not going to open it. Because if you opened it all, then you would just run out of you'd have no time in the day to do anything else. So they start to like learn what a sales email or a cold email looks like. Yes. So your goal is to like look like the opposite of a cold sales email or a marketing email. So stop like trying to sell and make your email stand out. Instead, if anything, try and make it blend in by being really simple, really descriptive, make it look like the emails they get from their boss, their colleagues, their employees.
I love it. This is such a like simple to the point information. It's really useful. Thank you so much. one thing I want to just finish off with is the email signature. The email
Okay.
signature, right? You ever see individuals with ridiculously long signatures
Yeah.
and links, and it just doesn't end. I think, what do you think about that? I know what I think about that. What do you think about that?
Mm, yeah. I do think that people go overboard with the signatures. And the main reason I like to keep mine very simple, my signature is
Mhm,
literally Will Aitken, and then my title, and then like one line of what we do. And
mhm.
sometimes that one line of my signature can replace, it gives all the context. If they do want to know what we do, they can look at
Yeah.
it right there. But I don't have any links. I don't have any images. Don't have any silly formatting because I am worried that the more images and links and stuff you include in your emails, the more likely they are to go undelivered or end up in the spam folder. So less is more for me. I find very rarely, I used to have like my marketing team gave me the signature. It was all colorful. It had like a G2 review, check out our website, click here to book time with me. No one ever clicked on that to book time with me. No one ever clicked to go look at our G2 reviews because you could see the link tracking. So no one was clicking on them anyway. So instead
Right.
now it's just my name, my title, and a one line of how we help.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Let's do this again.
Oh, 100%. We'll have to do it that way around, right? So you come
Sure.
on us.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.